Hello, thank you for joining me at Create with Jeannie. I'm an independent demonstrator, and I'm going to share with you today a project that I created with the Well Done bundle. The bundle includes the stamp set and this punch, and it coordinates with this beautiful paper. It's a 6x6 paper stack. Here's a few of the variety, and each one you can flip over and there's another design. The one I'm going to be using today, the main one, is this whale right here. Okay, I'm just going to move those parts over there. The card I'm creating today was inspired by a Playful Pets card that I made on Saturday. I wanted to come up with a basic layout that could be used over and over again. And so I will be featuring not only the Playful Pets card, but the Well Done card in my 2 for Tuesday blog post. Let's get started creating the card. I'm going to be using a piece of the Designer Series paper that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Another piece that is 2 inches by 4 inches. This narrow one is 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/2. And then I have a white Stitch So Sweetly rectangle die there. My card base is going to be Whisper White, and it is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to start working on this right here. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and stamp my image for my label. And to do that, let me just put this underneath here. I'm going to be using the stamp that said, "You're kind of a big deal." To add a little bit of versatility and add more color, I'm going to use my Stampin' Up markers, and I'm using the brush tip of the marker. There's a brush and a fine tip, and the fine tip has the thin line and the brush tip has the thick line, so it's really easy to know when you pull your markers out which end you have. Now I'm using the brush tip, as I said, to color the words. So I'm just going to get that Granny Apple green on the end there. The middle color is our Pacific Point. And I'm using the side of the brush tip. I find it works to give a really good coverage on those letters. There we go. And then the last color is our Pretty Peacock. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to do this last one down here. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and just stamp it in the lower left-hand corner. There we go. I think that looks really pretty. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to add some seaweed over here on the side. So to add that seaweed, good morning. To add that seaweed, I'm going to be using our Granny Apple Green ink and our Pretty Peacock ink. I'm going to ink up my seaweed and then stamp it off. And then I'm going to bring in my Granny Apple Green and just gently rock it. I'm not really pressing it in. I'm just trying to get some of the edges. And then I'm going to add that right on my card, just like that. I like how that color, when it's combined together, kind of brings in the same colors that's in that Designer Series paper. Now I can go ahead and I can set this aside. And now we can start building our card. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon to my little strip here. And I'm going to be using this little bow maker. One of my downline makes these and sells them on Etsy. I need to get the link. I am just taking it and wrapping it around 3 times. Now, when I made some of these earlier, it is about 12 inches long. So it's not a real long piece, but it's going to really make this bow come to life because it is such a thin ribbon. This is our crinkled taffeta, or not taffeta, crinkled seam binding ribbon. So now I've created this fluffy little bow here that I'm going to add on. To add it on, I am going to take another piece of the Whisper White ribbon, and I'm just going to cross it over like that. I'll trim that off just to get that out of the way. And then I am going to pull in a glue dot in my Take Your Pick tool. Pull off one of those, and I'm just going to put a glue dot right down there, wherever it is that I want to tie my bow on, and I'm going to press that down. Now my ribbon, it's safe and secure, it's not going to go anywhere. And then I will take my bow right here, set it on top, and then just do a knot. There we go. And now I have this fluffy white bow that will be an accent to my card. I think it looks really pretty. All right, there we go. Now let's turn that over and get that going. There we go. Get some adhesive on there. There's kind of a bump there. I might have wanted to put it up at the top earlier, but there we go. I'm going to bring back in my designer series paper, adhere that down just like that. Next, I am going to do a little trimming on here. This is our lovely label Pick a Punch, and it coordinates with our lovely label stamp set as a bundle. Today I brought it in to use to finish off the ends of my 3/4 inch strip. Now you'll notice there's 3 different grooves here. The first one is for 1/2 inch, the next is for 3/4, and the last is for 1 inch. Now when I slide it in, I'm going to push it all the way until it stops, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I like to check out right here in these corners to make sure that it's centered. Sometimes it will wiggle a little bit in there, and so you just want to make sure that you get the end in even. I'm going to slide my next one in, get it all the way to the end, make sure it's even on both sides, and there we go. Now we have, instead of just a squared off little designer series paper strip, we have this cute little end to it. And I'm going to adhere that down right there. So let's grab a little more adhesive. I'm getting used to our new Stampin' Seal adhesive. Whenever there's something new like that, there's always a learning curve to it, and I seem to be behind when it comes to learning new tricks, but I am learning. I do like it. It's very strong, very secure. There's more on it than with our snail that we carried before. And so you're gonna have to give it a try. I know I'm gonna really like it once I practice with it a lot, but it is nice to have something new. I like the way, the size of it, how it feels in your hand, holding it and that. I think it's really good. All right, so let's add this on here. So now our base is done, all except for the fun part, our little whale. So to do our whale, here is our designer series paper. I'm going to go ahead and cut the whale out just kind of like around the edge. I don't know about you, but sometimes I've gone and I've punched with a punch that has these extra things on it, which I love, except for that then sometimes you punch into another whale that you might want to use. So I'm going to turn my whale over, or my punch over, I'm sorry, my whale punch, and then I'm going to take a piece of Post-it notes. So I always keep these little square ones on my desk. Now I'm going to slide my whale in and line him up. Him or her, I guess it could be either. I think that looks pretty good. And then punch. And then I can just pull off that little piece of Post-it note that was on there. And now my little guy is all ready to go. I'm not sure. There they are. Like, how could I lose my dimensionals in just that few little bit of time? All right, so I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back. Got it ready to go. But right before I do, I am going to grab some of our Wink Stella. I love Wink Stella and the shimmer that it has. I think it's going to add to that seaweed. Just make that kind of sparkle, you know, like the sun is shining on the ocean. And then we'll go ahead and we'll put our little whale on here. And I'm going to add some on him too. It has these kind of, the white bottom, the little speckles. I think it's just perfect to add that little extra detail there. All right. Now I'm going to turn this over. add some dimensionals on the back. Now I always say you can add as many or as few dimensionals as you want. If you're mailing a card and you want it to be flatter, then you can not add dimensionals to it. They seem to shrink down a little bit when they press, but I love dimensionals, so I add a lot of them. All right, so we're gonna add that right on there, center it, and now we need to add some of our really cute sequins. So I'm going to make some little bubbles with my multi-purpose glue. Oops, there's a little big bubble. I didn't mean to have quite that much on there, but sometimes that happens. And then I'm just going to pick up some of my sequins here and lay them down. Now I'm doing this the very last thing because I didn't want to have to turn my card over when I went to put these on, because it's going to take a few minutes for that to dry there. So by doing it last, it'll have plenty of time to dry. All right. How do you like that? I think he turned out really cute. I think it's going to be a fun card. And you're kind of a big deal, I think, is a really neat sentiment, because it could be for so many different things. Could be for a birthday, for graduation, just an encouragement card. I really, really like that. And I wanted to share with you a couple other cards I made with this suite. Here's one here. This one I did where I have my mat on the front, which is 4 by 5 1/4, but when you lift it up, the top one is a little bit shorter, so the inside you get to see some more color there. The background of this is some designer series paper in that whale of a time, and then I added, if you noticed, all the little glimmer on the seaweed underneath. The large whale I punched out, and the 2 smaller whales I cut out freehand. And then I did add the Linka Stella on there. The cute banner at the top is our Calypso Coral, and I embossed it in white. And the sentiment is from the Lovely You stamp set, which coordinates with the lovely label Pick a Punch that I used earlier today. So here's 2 cards. I also created this small little note card. I just thought it'd be a fun one to put with a gift. I stamped the image twice, and then I cut out the love and then popped that up on there. And then the last project I made was a sweet little treat that would be great for a birthday party. It was made with our new 3 1/8 inch squared acetate boxes, and they were made to put these cute little cards in. But I thought, why not give a treat? And the saying was, hoping all your birthday wishes come true. I thought that was really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and set those down there. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I am going to be sharing the Big Deal card and my Playful Pets card on my blog, Create with Jeannie, today for my Tuesday 2 for Tuesday project. If you're interested in the projects, stop by my website and use the host code that I have going on for this month. If you have any questions, please send me a message. I'd love to hear from you and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.